Yay. Okay. So some of the benefits of being a life coach is personal growth. And like I said, I'm going to ask you to grow a lot. You get to learn from your clients. I've had clients teach me things like, building different things. And, I had a client once that was an airline stewardess. I learned a lot about that industry. So you're going to learn a lot from your clients. You don't have to know anything. And really, if you're not an expert in anything, you're a better life coach. And I know that sounds weird, but it's true. The gift of being of service to someone is awesome. You set your own hours, be your own boss, and you can make as much money as you can receive. And the reason I say as much as you can receive is because we all have a cap on consciousness, and that's something that hopefully you can push through and get to the next level of whatever your receiving capacity is. So we're going to talk a little bit about that during training as well. Learn to live a grace-filled life. A lot of people look at my life and they think that my life is magical. I had a friend of mine refer a client to me because she said I was magical. And that's because I live a grace-filled life. And that's what I want each of you to aspire to doing, is living a grace-filled life. And my thing just froze. Don't you love technology? So Thomas Leonard, he was the founding father of professional life coaching. And Thomas Leonard passed away in 2003 of a heart attack. And since then, I've heard other people claim that they were the founding father of professional life coaching. It really bothers me because, Melissa, I think I'm still hearing you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to everybody, that might help if I can do that. Okay. So what I did was I muted everybody. So if you can't hear me or if you have a problem, you'll have to use the chat to communicate with me until I turn the mute back on. So yeah, like I was saying, Thomas Leonard was the founding father of professional life coaching. And he was actually a financial planner. He was into numbers. And he started working with people and helping them to plan out their life. And so he came up with the idea of everyone should have a life coach. Coaching was very popular back in the day for executives. So he made it a household name. In 1992, he started Coach University. I started at Coach University in 1993 and went through the 2-year life coaching program. So today there are life coaching programs that go anywhere from like 1 day, 4 days, 12 weeks like this one, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. The thing about life coaching is that there are no government regulations, so anybody can call themselves a life coach. That kind of irritates me too, and the reason is because you get people saying they're a life coach and they don't have the structure, the skills, or the tools. They're just using the title. And when somebody does that, it usually gives coaching a bad name because they screw up. And then the ones that are certified and do have the skills and tools, we kind of suffer from that. So I'm really glad that you guys are doing it right. In 1994 through 95, Thomas Leonard started the International Coach Federation. And even today, it sets the highest standards for coaching. So if you were going to take a coach certification program from someone else, I would say go to the Coach Federation and get referrals from them. They set very high standards for coaching. They have the code of ethics for coaching. This PowerPoint I can email to whoever wants it so that you can remember all this stuff. You don't have to take a lot of notes. But just know that there are a lot of programs out there. In order to be referred by the Coach Federation, you have to have so many hours of experience coaching people, and you have to have gone through a coach certification program that's recognized by Coach Federation. This program that you guys are taking is not recognized by them because I refuse to pay the fees. And I've been doing this for so long, and I started out with Thomas Leonard. It's like, you know what, I don't need to prove anything. And I attract the people to me that want to learn my style of coaching. I have taken coach certification through a lot of different coaching programs and coaching schools, one of them being the Behavioral Coaching Institute. I always acknowledge them because that was the best training I ever took. Also, the most expensive, that one was like $5,000. So you can take a coach training that's free all the way up to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how much you want to invest in yourself and this program. So, and again, there we go. This is a 12-week course. What you're going to get from this course, the first 4 weeks is really going to be focusing on you and who you are and building your skills and transforming your life. The second set is going to be more about working with clients. And the third set is going to be more about building your practice. There are a couple of people on this call that are interested in taking a program that do not want to build a practice. They just want to learn the tools, and they just want the personal transformation. So whatever your goal is, if you don't want to build a practice, you can just do the first 8 weeks. If you do want to build a practice, I recommend taking the whole thing. The way this works, it's a self-study program. The tuition is based on the material sent, not attendance. Certification is based on the test and participating in at least 8 of the 12 coaching calls. So the $675 that you pay that once your application is approved and the training manual has been sent. Some of you don't have the $675 in your budget right now, and that's fine. I've said that you could do $225 a month for 3 months if that works for you. So we'll work it out. We'll just work it out. Once you purchase the training materials, you don't need the coaching calls. It is a self-complete manual. You can be a life coach. You can be a life coach without the training manual, but with it, you'll have the skills and tools on how to do it right. So that's why the tuition is based on the materials sent. It's because you can be a life coach. Now, if you want certification from me, that's when you have to take the test and you have to participate in the calls. Because if you don't participate in the calls, I don't know your skill level. I don't know if you're ready to be certified. So the only way that I know that is by your participation. And I feel as though if you do at least 8 of the 12 calls, you're good to go, okay? So when you get your training materials, you get the privilege of participating in the calls. You also get 10-minute one-on-one check-in calls with me anytime you need it. I want to do whatever I can to make you successful. You also get the student discount. If you need more than 10 or 15 minutes, that becomes a full-blown out session in my opinion. So I'm only going to charge you $25 if you need a full session. In order to qualify to take the oral and written tests, you have to have the training material. You have to participate in the classes. Also, once you buy the training material from me, you can participate in any future classes. And I don't guarantee that I'm going to do any future classes because I just kind of do it when Spirit makes me. Well, I shouldn't say makes me, but when Spirit tells me or urges me or pushes me or say, hey, it's time, you need to do this. So even though you might be studying alone, we learn together. So we learn by tapping into the collective wisdom of the group. So you need to participate and be fully engaged. When you come to the call, I don't want you coming to the call if you haven't done the assignments, because then you are not part of the wisdom of the group for that particular session. The participants are fully engaged in a meaningful and dynamic group coaching discussion. You're going to learn the skills, you're going to have the tools, the techniques, and everything you need to be a professional life coach. My promise is that if you achieve certification from me, you will know how to successfully coach any reasonable and stable adult in any situation. And I say reasonable and stable. Again, you don't want to coach anybody that really should be in therapy. They really should be. So here are my requirements for certification. You got to complete all the assignments on time. The reason that it's important that you complete them on time is because you can't participate in that weekly call if you haven't done the assignment for the week. And frankly, if you come to the call and you haven't done the assignment, I'm going to ask you to leave the call. That's just my standard. When you get a certification from me, you are going to be not only top-notch in standards, but you're going to have really strong and crazily strict boundaries about who you are and having people honor your time. That's really important. If you can't be a role model for your clients, then you're not a very good life coach. So just saying, what you're in for is really strict boundaries. So don't get your feelings hurt if you're on the call and you don't know what we're talking about and I say, would you mind leaving the call and coming back next week? Don't get your feelings hurt. The other thing I'm going to say about that is I have the ability to lock the call. 5 minutes after the calls start, they will be locked. So if you're running late and you can't dial in on time, that's okay. That's okay. You get to miss 4 calls and still sit for the test for certification. But you need to be on time. So that's part of the training. You'll need to facilitate 2 practice coaching sessions, 1 with a stranger. So what I'm going to have you do as a group, you're going to invite a friend to do a practice session with. And then those friends, you're going to ask them to do a practice session with someone else in the group. That will be a stranger. So you don't have to go on the street and pull somebody out off the sidewalk. Then you'll have to pass the written exam. That's an easy one because you'll have your book, kind of like open book kind of thing. The oral exam, that's going to be a little bit more difficult if you get stressed out taking tests. The way that that works is that you'll set up a coaching call with a client. I will be on the call with you, so it'll be a 3-way call, but I won't be talking, but you will let your client know that I am there, but I am a silent person at the moment. So after the call, you'll hang up with your client, and then you and I will remain on the line, and I will critique your call. You will know right away whether you passed or not. It's no secret. Then you'll just submit your bio and your photo for my records, and you're good to go. So what you can expect from me is I'm going to treat you like a client, and that means no toleration. I'm not going to tolerate you being late to a call. I'm not going to tolerate you not doing the assignments. I'm not going to tolerate anything, and you shouldn't either. You should hold yourself to those same high standards. I'm going to treat you like a professional coach. That means no excuses, none. So when you come to the calls and you haven't done an assignment, I don't want to hear the excuses. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. So did you do the assignment? It's yay or nay, period. Yes or no, okay? I will expect you to show up fully present. That means that you're not texting while you're on the call. That means you're not looking at something else. That means you're fully present. That means if you're called upon to add your comments to a discussion, boom, you're right there with it. I expect you to pay on time, and I expect you to tell the truth. Now, that doesn't mean you got to spill your guts. It doesn't mean that you can't have your own little privacy. It just means that if you are going to speak, I want the truth. I want the truth. And you should expect that from all of your clients. A client that is not willing to tell you the truth because they don't trust you, that's not your client, okay? I expect you, if you decide to take this class, that you trust me enough and you're willing to tell the truth, okay? Again, attend at least 8. Even if you're not going to do the certification part, try to attend at least 8. Because you can miss the last 4. A little bit about me. If you go on my website, you can look at my bio in detail. I spent 4 years at Thomas Institute of Metaphysics. I'm a spiritual practitioner. I spent 12 years at the Agave Spiritual Center. But what you need to know about that is before being a licensed spiritual practitioner, I had to spend 4 years in training and then the 12 years. So, oh, sorry, my dog's barking. 2 years at 2 years at Coach University. Got my master coach certification from BCI, Behavioral Coaching Institute. I'm also certified in neurolinguistic programming, and I'm certified as a clinical hypnotherapist. I believe that coaches are modern day mystics, both practical and spiritual. One of the things that I know about each of you on this call, except for Kristen, you're the only one, if you're on the call yet, that I don't know very well. But what I do know is that you were referred by Ronnie, and I know Ronnie's energy, and I know David's energy, and if you're a friend of Ronnie's, you're awesome. I know that. So what I know about those of you on this call or interested in this is that you are both practical and spiritual, which means you are a modern day mystic. The only thing this program is going to do for you is give you structure so that when you are helping people, you can charge them without feeling guilty. And I know all of you are giving advice already and not charging for it. So this program is going to help you with that. Coaching skills. Like I said, I've taken a lot of coaching programs from other trainers over the years, over the past 15 years, and I've kind of blended a lot of it together. But what the skills that I have found most valuable are learning how to listen with love, learning how to love unconditionally, learning how to enlighten with integrity, and we'll talk about that in the class, and learning how to lead with clarity. Those are the 4 skills over the last 15, 20 years that I've been doing this that I find the most valuable when working with clients. The little tip here, if you see a person who is wounded, you cannot help them. And what that means, again, going back to the mystic side of who I am, what that means is that you have to see a whole person. You have to see their goals. You have to hold a vision for them until they can step into it themselves. So you can't see a wounded person. Person comes to you and they say, I want to make $1 million. If you've never made $1 million, you might have a limiting belief around that. You might think, wow, yeah, well, right, that's a pipe dream. But you know what? You've got to see that person making $1 million. You've got to have the skill to be able to do that as a life coach. The other thing I want to say about being a life coach, I'm very passionate about it, if you can tell, because you can be a business coach, which I am. You can be a health coach. I've taken those classes too, so I could very well say that I'm a health coach. You could be any kind of coach. But one thing for certain, if you are a life coach, if you're putting yourself out into the world as a life coach, it encompasses all of the other coaching skills. It encompasses everything. So what you're going to learn in this program is how to coach someone that needs a health coach. You're going to learn how to coach someone that needs a business coach. You're going to learn how to coach someone that needs a career coach, someone that needs an addiction coach. You're going to learn how to coach almost anyone in almost every situation. So life coaching to me is huge. Here's my 5-step coaching model. Again, taken from everything I've learned about coaching over the years, I have found this particular model gets the job done. Desires, blocks, options, goals, and then actions. You've got to start with desires. Every coach will start with desires. Even those of you that have never been coached before and you go to a coach, the first thing they're going to ask you is, what do you want? What do you want? And believe it or not, that is the most difficult part of coaching, is helping the client clarify what they want. Most people are unhappy because they don't know what they really want. And a lot of times the reason people don't know what they want is because what they truly want is in conflict with their spouse or their children or their parents or their best friend, significant other. It's in conflict with how it's going to affect someone else. So they kind of play it down what they really want. And so as a coach, our job is to bring that to the surface, to help them tell the truth. Tell the truth. It's the only way people are going to be happy is to tell the truth. The truth will set you free, right? So, and then the next step is, well, what stops you? When you get to the core of what a person really wants, the reason they don't have it already is because something is stopping them. So then we talk about the blocks. And once we know what the blocks are, we say, okay, well, what are the options here? What can you do? What are your choices? The one thing you need to know about coaching is we don't give answers. A coach does not give the answer. When you start giving answers, you're giving advice. When you start giving advice, you're into counseling then. That's not your job. Your job as a coach is to ask empowering questions so that the client finds their own answers. That's your job. So what can you do to make this happen, to get what you really want? This is where you want to brainstorm with the client, to go through all the different options, and then you set goals from those options. What can you do? These are all the things you can do. And now what will you do? What do you really want to do? And once you get their goals, then the coaching begins. Then action steps. Baby steps, big steps, depending on where the coach is at, where the client is. If you got a restorative client, somebody that's healing from the past, from damages, we're going to coach with baby steps, and we're going to talk about that. If you got a client that's a CEO ready to make it to the next level, you're going to ask them to take giant leap steps. You know, step, leap, fly. That's a different coaching style. So you're going to learn the different styles of how to coach different people in different situations. I have a little note down here about counseling. You're going to be asked to counsel someone that's not ready for coaching. They're not ready because the blocks may be too much or whatever. My counseling style is clarity, focus, action, and then integration. You can take this on yourself as well. So basically, if someone wants my help to figure something out, the first step is clarity, which is also the same as desires. Got to get clear. You've got to get clear. And then focus is the same step as goals. What are you going to do? You're clear about what you want. Now, what are you going to do about it? And then drawing up an action plan. What's your action plan? Integration is coaching, because that's when they're integrating the actions into their lives, and they're every day doing something towards reaching those goals. So what I might do, someone may come to me with help with a particular issue. When they do, I'm sitting down with them. I'm saying, okay, let's do clarity. Let's get focused. Here's your action plan. Do you want to be coached so that you can stay on target and be held accountable for reaching your goals? And that's usually when the coaching starts. One of the things that you can do as a coach is you can specialize in clarity, specialize in helping people find out what they really want. You can promote just focusing, helping people get focused and clear on what they want in life. They come to you for one session, and then you can enroll them in the coaching process if that feels right for you and if it's a good match. So that's an option. In the training manual, you're going to get all of everything you know about the skills and the tools. And like I said earlier, once you get the training manuals, you don't need me, you don't need this program, you don't need anything. You can take off, hit the ground running, and start coaching people. The other part of this manual is you're going to get forms to use with the clients. You're going to get the timeless tools and assessments that came directly from Coach University in 1992 that Thomas Leonard and the team created. He didn't create them all himself. What he did was he created kind of like a focus group, and the focus group would use these tools, perfect these tools, and I declare them timeless. They're priceless. So you get that as part of your coaching manual as well. So to get started, you need to submit an application, and the application is on my website. It's you just go to coachwandamarie.com/training-agenda. You'd have to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then you'll get the agenda and the application. Everything's there. The application is not a big deal. Basically, I want to know, and it's confidential, of course. I want to know if you have any addictions. I want to know if you're in therapy. I want to know if you have any health challenges. I want to know if you're already working with the coach. I want to know what your religious background is. These are important so that I know how to coach you. It doesn't mean that you're going to get in or not be accepted into the program. That's not what this is about. The only way you would not be accepted into this program is that you are already working with the coach, and therefore it would be a conflict of interest, or you're in therapy and I would need something from your therapist saying that they understand you're in coaching, because again, we don't want a conflict of interest. You pay your tuition, receive your manual, complete the first week's assignment. So the first week's assignment, there's going to be 4 self-assessments and 7 pages of reading. So you'll need to give yourself time for that. One thing that I don't want is I don't want you to take this program and think, oh, I'll just read this real quick right before the class. I don't want that. I want you to start buffering your time. If you are going to have a grace-filled life, there are 2 things that are extremely important. One is your time. That's something you can't get back if you waste it. You can get back money if you waste money, but not time. I want you to start buffering your time. And 2 is the truth thing. That truth thing is huge here. And then you participate in the first call. So we've talked about what coaching is, the benefits, the industry. I don't remember going over the outline. Oh, yes, I did. We'll go into the outline, logistics, certification requirements, and getting started. So I am going to unmute everybody. And so who's got questions? Please tell me your name first, because I won't know who's talking.
Wanda, this is David. Should we, on the application, should we just, like I have it filled out, should we just scan it and email it to you? I printed it out.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then based on that, I'm guessing that you'll just send an invoice?
Yep.
For the tuition? Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Boy, you guys are quiet. Is anybody else still on the call? It looks like I've got 5 people on this call, but nobody's saying anything.
Melissa, but I'm hoping I can get a copy of the recording because I missed the first half, but it seemed pretty explanatory.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Jennifer, did you make it on the call? Are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Janet, are you still here?
I am.
Any questions?
I'd like to get a copy of the PowerPoint. Do you want me to send you an email for that?
No, I'll make a note right here.
Okay.
Yep, okay.
Can I get one too, Wanda?
Yep.
Thank you.
Lisa, you still on the call?
Can you hear me, Wanda?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yep, I'm here.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. Did Kristen make it to the call? No. Okay. Did Rebecca make it to the call? Nope. Okay. So let me talk a little bit more. This is the part where I said if you are going to be in this program, you might want to have your significant other join the call because of what I'm about to say. I'm going to mute everybody again because it sounds like I'm getting some feedback. So I'm going to mute everyone one more time here. So when you take this program, like I said, I'm going to be a little bit hard on you because I'm passionate about it. And you're going to have to clean up your life. You're going to have to come clean. Secrets kill character. Secrets kill character. And what I'm doing is helping to build character. So if you've got any secrets, and let me define what a secret is, in my opinion. A secret is something that you're holding inside, but it's bursting and you have to tell someone. So what you've done is you've gone and told your best friend, but nobody else knows. And so now your best friend is sharing the burden with you of this secret, but you haven't told important people about it. That's a secret. And what secrets do is they create shame and guilt. You've got to come clean. So if you have a significant other in your life and you have a secret from that person, I encourage you to find a way to lovingly come clean. I'm just saying, I think it's really important. You have to know your truth and then tell the truth to yourself, and then you tell the truth to the world. It's very important, very important. You want to live with no regrets. Everything has purpose. Everything has purpose. No matter what the appearances are, no matter how good it is or how bad it is, there's a purpose to everything. One of the things I want you to do is I want you to be selfish and then selfless. It's really important. If you're not selfish first, then what you're doing with your clients is you're giving because you're selfless. Everyone on this call is selfless. And I want you to learn to be a little bit more like me. I'm very selfish. I don't want you to be totally selfish, but a little bit selfish. And the reason this is important to your significant other is because during this course, you're going to start getting real clear on what your needs are, and you're going to start expressing them. You may not be comfortable expressing your needs, therefore it may come out clumsy. It may come out awkward, and there may be arguments. So I want you to prepare your significant other that I'm going through this self-awareness process, and I may need to start expressing my needs a little bit better. It may not come out as graceful as I want it to, but I want you to know that I love you, and you're the most important person in my life, and I just need you to walk through this with me. So if I get a little rough around the edges, just let me know, okay? So that's important. I want you to learn unconditional love. And unconditional love sounds like an impossible thing, but it's not. And what that means is that you learn to love people to the core of their being. And when you do that, the outside takes care of itself. The personality, I'm not asking you to love anybody's personality, because people get on our nerves. We're human. But you know what? There's an innocent person inside of everyone. That's who I want you to love. And that's where I want your compassion to be. And when you can love everybody, you can service anybody. You can have anybody as a client, as long as you know to love them from the core of their being. So that's really important. Another thing that's really important is I want you to honor your feelings beyond everything else. I want you to honor your feelings. A lot of times we ignore our feelings. That gut feeling, that's what helps you to follow your heart, is the gut feeling. So when you get intuition about something, I want you to follow it. I want you to start trusting yourself. If you don't trust yourself, you won't tell the truth to yourself. And if you don't tell the truth to yourself, you won't tell the truth to anyone else. So I want you to trust your feelings. This becomes important with your significant other again, because a lot of you, what you do is you put other people's feelings before your own. And if you're in a long-term relationship and the other person is used to you doing that, and all of a sudden you start putting your feelings first, there's going to be a little bit of a rocky road. So again, you need to tell people that you live with or people around you, I'm going to start trusting my feelings. You can blame it on me. My coach says I need to trust my feelings, so that's really important. Anything else I can think of? Highest form of unconditional love highest form of compassion is unconditional love. Sometimes that looks like tough love. It looks like tough love. So, as a mystic, I want you guys to start thinking of yourself as a mystic already. Whether you take this program or not, you are a mystic. I know that. So I want you to start owning that. Some of the things that a mystic does is they ask the right questions. Think in terms of, I don't know. Anyway, just know that when you ask the right questions and you give people space to answer it, their answers are always more powerful than what you could have brought to them. So the value that you're bringing to them is space. It is not the right answer. It's the safe space for them to dive deep enough into who they are to come up with their own answers. That's what a mystic does. You ask the right questions. You pray the right prayers. You trust your gut with all of your heart. You learn to trust the unthinkable. And let me give you an example of that. Some of you are going to laugh, but you're all muted, so it's okay. When I divorced my first husband and I was single, I never in a million years thought I would marry a white guy. I mean, that was just not in my vision at all. I was looking for tall, dark, and handsome again. And when Ron came into my life, being a white man, it was just like, that was the unthinkable, so it's just like, no, not happening. But I have to learn to trust the unthinkable. And so marrying Ron was one of the best things that ever happened to me. One of the best things that ever happened to me because I trust it. So sometimes you just have to trust. You got to know what God is for you. If you don't have something bigger than your ego that's guiding and directing your life, you're not going to have a grace-filled life. God is different for everybody. And that's one of the reasons I want to know what your religious background is and where you're coming from. And if you're active, I want to honor that. That's very important. So you need to know that for your client. I had a client that was a monk that came to me. I needed to know because she dressed in regular clothing. I did not know she was a monk, and when I learned that, it's like, okay, now we're going. I'm not going to talk to her about Jesus, So it's something to be sensitive about. The other thing, and this is the last thing I'm going to bore you guys with, is living in the present moment. I think it's so important to live in the present moment. So I encourage you, if you've been a coaching client with me before, you've downloaded or I've given you my client handbook and toolbox, I encourage you to start working that, to study it. If you study that, these are all the gems that I've collected over all my years of being a spiritual counselor and guide and just a real guide for people. So I've collected all these amazing tools. And if you study this guide, you won't have any problem saying that I am a modern day mystic. The other thing that I recommend is I'd like for you to go from self-help to self-realization. So many people are stuck in self-help. And I don't have anything against self-help books. I have a whole library of self-help books. Don't get stuck there. Move on. Become the mystic. I have 4 books that I recommend: Practicing the Presence, Voice of the Master, You, and Effortless Being. Effortless Being was a book that was given to me years ago. It's a book about yoga. And if you were to purchase this book today, it's $235. So there's another book that's similar to that one that's like $6, I think. So you can purchase a $6 book and you'll probably get the same effect from it. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have. I'm going to unmute and ask, do we have any questions before we sign off here?
Not for me. Thank you, Wanda.
Okay, thank you, David.
Yes, many thanks. We'll look forward to the PowerPoint.
Okay, so everybody, you've got your next step, right? To go download the application if you want to join us on October 2nd.
Oh,
Sounds great.
Yes, question.
yes, this is David. How could we access the recording?
If it worked, I will send everybody a link to the recording and the PowerPoint. How's that?
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
We won't have that meeting next week?
No, I don't think we need to.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? All right,
Looking forward
guys.
to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. I'm signing off now. Have a great
Bye,
evening.
thank you.
Hey, Wanda.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, is the first week's assignments due on the first meeting?
Due before the first meeting. I mean, there's nothing that you'll have to turn in at all. It's just that you need to do the reading and the assessment because that is the foundation of the discussion for the first meeting.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Cool?
Yep.
All right. All right. Signing off, everybody.
Thank you, Wanda.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.